Today, we look at some concerts that are coming up summer 2019. Let's check it. It's towards the middle of March right now, and that means that summer concerts are right around the corner. I'm so sick and tired of living in the cold in the East Coast, and sometimes winter concerts make it unbearable and impossible to even go to the shows. But when summer's around, it's a whole different story. You got summer festivals that go all day, sometimes a whole weekend. And then you've got these regular tours that could sometimes seem larger than life because there are so many sick bands on it. And then you've got the occasional one-off where you're like, wow, that band hasn't been in town in the last decade. I've got to go. So today, we look at some of these that are coming in the summer of 2019. Let's get into it. First up is one that was just recently announced, the Sad Summer Festival. This concert is anything but unhappy, trust me. When I saw the lineup for this, I was kind of blown away. State Champs, Mayday Parade, the Maine, and the Wonder Years, featuring Mom Jeans, Stand Atlantic, Just Friends, and Lift, L-I-F-T. With appearances in select cities from 4 Years Strong, Set It Off, Forever the Sickest Kids, Emo Night, and Every Avenue. What the hell? I've seen pretty much every single band on this list, but it's been at separate occasions. To see them all together is fucking awesome. Mayday Parade and the Maine put on a fucking fantastic show, and I've seen State Champs like 3 times live. Every time I have, it's so energetic in the room. Now I'm from Pittsburgh, and I don't think 4 Years Strong is going to be coming to Pittsburgh, but the fact that they're on the list is fucking amazing. As well as Forever the Sickest Kids. I love both of those bands. The only band that I haven't seen on this list is the Wonder Years, but I'm a huge fan, and I've been waiting for them to come to town for almost ever. The closest I've gotten was seeing Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, which is Soupy's side project. You should check those guys out too. The Vans Warped Tour. I've been talking this one up for like 3 months now, and this was before the bands were even released. Now that the lineup's released, I suggest that you get off your ass and go get tickets. You got Atlantic City, New Jersey, Cleveland, Ohio, and Mountain View, California. With killer bands at Atlantic City like 311, A Day to Remember, Blink-182, Taking Back Sunday, Gym Class Heroes, The Offspring, and a ton more. You don't want to miss that show if you live on the East Coast. And now while you have Kevin Lyman, the owner of Vans Warped Tour, and the official Vans Warped Tour Twitter saying don't buy from third parties because the Atlantic City date is sold out, you can still buy resales on Ticketmaster or their website. And if you're from the West Coast, you're getting an equal amount of awesome. With bands like the All-American Rejects, The Used, NOFX, Lagwagon, and some crossover bands like 4 Years Strong, The Offspring, Gym Class Heroes, and more. If you can't get out there but you're still on the East Coast, there's still the Cleveland, Ohio show, which also has this awesome Rock and Roll Hall of Fame exhibit that's being debuted that very day. So you'll kind of be a part of history. There's only a couple bands on it, but still, worthwhile going. With bands including Hawthorne Heights, Simple Plan, and We the Kings. It seems like there's a ton of punk festivals going on this summer. It's like since the Vans Warped Tour really isn't a cross-country thing anymore, that these bands have just kind of went, screw it, let's get together and do something. And here we go with Camp Anarchy Fest. Now the Camp Anarchy Fest is kind of a spin-off of the Punk and Drublic Festival that's been going on for the last year and a half, featuring NOFX and Bad Religion, among a other ton of punk bands. This one was kind of experimental last summer, where they had Camp Anarchy Fest, the same place in Ohio, and it featured a whole weekend full of bands, camping, drinking, and more drinking. This year, instead of a 2-day fest, they're going to have 3 days, with Friday featuring The Offspring, Fear, and Strung Out, among others. Saturday featuring Rancid and Pennywise, and there's a ton of other bands there, check them out. And Sunday being the kind of iconic Punk and Drublic Festival lineup featuring NOFX, Bad Religion, Less Than Jake, and a ton of others. Now with this, there's camping, there's campfire stories, I'm not making this up, with the bands. You can play things like dodgeball and beer pong with the bands, among a ton of other debauchery that's going on that weekend. So check it out if you're in the East Coast area, or hell, if you even want to fly. It's happening in Thornville, Ohio, the last weekend / first weekend of May and June. Speaking of Less Than Jake's going on tour. It seems like one of the best summers for concerts coming up. Now, while the last couple of years have been kind of okay, it seems like this year it's in full force, which continues on with ska punk legends Less Than Jake, who are going on tour with Mest, Punchline, and Cali Massey. I think I'm saying that right. It's more of a spring concert series, but it can get your palate wet going into the summer. And it kicks off Saturday, April 6th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You can check all that in the description below. Real Big Fish and Bowling for Soup just announced a tour with Mest and Nerf. I've mentioned all of these bands before on the Pop Punk Dad TV. In fact, I interviewed 2 of them. It's odd enough these bands have been friends for years, but they've never went on tour with each other. I actually saw Real Big Fish's horn line play to Bowling for Soup's 1985 last year at the Vans Warped Tour. They were the last band to close out the night, and it was fucking awesome. These guys are going from coast to coast this summer, starting on June 19th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Seems like Fort Lauderdale's a trend for some bands. I'll leave a link to the dates in the description below as well. Now, as I said in one of my last videos, that Slipknot is one of my favorite bands to see live. And they're going on tour this summer with their legendary Knotfest. But it's kind of a road show, not the whole 3-day weekend. You can check them out on the road with Volbeat and Behemoth, which are 2 heavy-ass bands. They're also doing coast to coast, and they're doing big amphitheater venues, so get ready for some debauchery. If you're not a fan of metal, get a fucking ticket anyway. Slipknot is one of the best live shows you'll ever see. There's pyro, there's blood, there's people flipping garbage cans over and lighting them on fire, which isn't part of the show, but people fucking do it anyway. It's kind of like a staple at their shows. This one's going coast to coast and starts this summer on the last weekend of July on Mountain View, California. Keeping It Semi-Heavy is one of my favorite bands to see live, who I've never seen live. That's a lie, I saw them at Warped Tour, but that's like a half-hour set, whatever. It's Coheed and Cambria, co-headlining with Mastodon. The tour is called the Unheavenly Sky Tour, which is the combination of the support of Coheed's new album, The Unheavenly Creatures, as well as Mastodon's album, Crack the Sky, which they'll be playing in its entirety on the tour. On top of that, another awesome band that I've seen maybe a couple times, but they put on a fucking amazing show, is Every Time I Die. All 3 of these bands will be on all dates of the tour, and you should definitely go. Coheed puts on a phenomenal show. I've never seen Mastodon live, and Every Time I Die is just fucking epic. Tour kicks off May 29th in Columbus, Ohio, and goes coast to coast all the way until June. Now this next band is a band I've been recently turned on to through a mutual friend. The band is In This Moment. They've got a heavier, more gothic sound to them that can only be in comparison to bands like Motionless in White. Their dark and twisted videos fit perfectly together with the mood of the music. All of that, coupled with lead singer, femme fatale, Maria Brink's raspy voice, and the heavy goth metalness of the rest of the band, make this a truly epic show to see live, even though I've never seen them live. These guys are kicking off tour in the beginning of May, heading coast to coast until the end of May, hitting a Midwest / kind of East tour until the end of May, and then they're off to Canada and the UK for the rest of the summer. Hawthorne Heights is a band that I've seen more than a couple times live, on the Vans Warped Tour, with Punchline, and hell, even some acoustic dates here and there. But the guys are back on tour with the band Emery. Not only that, it's the 15th year anniversary of their album, The Silence in Black and White, which they'll be playing in its entirety on the tour. If you haven't gotten VIP tickets to this tour, you're missing out, because Emery and Hawthorne Heights are covering each other's song on a special CD that you can only get with a VIP package. So if you haven't got that, get it. If not, maybe ask a friend. Tour kicks off the first weekend of May at the Summer Fest in West Palm Beach, Florida, and goes all the way until the middle of June. The Red Jumpsuit Apparatus are heading out on tour with Alesana. Now, I've only seen Red Jumpsuit a handful of times live, but the fact that both of these bands are still in full force after all these years is still awesome. I recently interviewed Red Jumpsuit as their new album, The Awakening, came out this past winter. You can check that out in the description below. Both these bands put on a killer live show, and you can probably anticipate hits throughout the years from both these acts. The tour's coast to coast kicks off the first week of April, and you could buy tickets now. The link to tickets from all these bands and all these festivals are in the description below. Hey guys, now that we're at the end of the video, thank you for commenting, and subscribing. You can check out daily blogs on thepoppunkdad.com, which features daily reviews and interviews from awesome bands. Head on over to the Pop Punk Dad official merch shop, where you can buy cool things like that right there. It helps the channel out and lets me know that you love me. I have a weekly podcast called the Pop Punk Dadcast, which is on SoundCloud and iTunes now. Please subscribe. While you're at it, cruise around and check out other content on this channel. You can check out all my social medias, my IG, my FB, and my Twitter, at the Pop Punk Dad. And above all else, guys, stay pop punk. Later.